Here are a couple of my favorite warm cues to warm yourself up. Head tilting is a universal sign of warmth. Nodding is a universal sign of warmth. Eyebrow raises are a universal sign of warmth. We also love when warm people ask about our family, ask about our hobbies, ask about our personal passions. Warm people are often the team cheerleaders. They remember birthdays, they remember small anecdotes, and they are always tapping into people's emotions. That makes you highly warm. And this is an early interview of Jeff Bezos on 60 Minutes. See if you can spot all the warm cues.
I've been described as a nerd aspiring to be a geek, and I think that's probably about right. So,
one of the ways I made the decision to start Amazon.com was to try and think about it in terms of a regret minimization framework. And the idea is when you're 80, you want to look back and minimize the regrets. And I think a lot of people behave this way. Just very few of them speak of it in such a nerdy way.
Jeff Bezos may be a polarizing figure today, but early in his career, he led with warmth. Let's break down the warmth cues that you see here. Jeff Bezos is laughing, he's smiling, he's eyebrow raising, he listens opened mouth, he's leaning in, he's super self-deprecating, he's bonding with the interviewer. This is classic warmth, and he needed this at this point in his career because he started this website, Amazon.com, and you had to trust him. You had to give Amazon your credit card details. So he knew that warmth was critical in this first impression. Here are some cues that he uses that you can easily do as well. First, he's an easy laugher, an easy smiler. He's looking for reasons to be delighted and joyful. I don't want you to fake this. He's not keeping a fake smile on his face. He's looking for opportunities where he can laugh at himself, laugh at the floor, laugh at examples, and that makes him extremely likable because it shows that he is an optimist. Sometimes I think we underplay our happiness or we stifle our smiles, but actually it's super warm to be an easy smiler. You could use smiling even digitally. Be smile ready. That is, if someone shares their weekend experience with their kids, laugh with them, smile with them. If you have good news to share, a highlight of your week or a highlight of your day, smile as you recall the story. Before I hop on Zoom, I used to think about my to-do lists, my emails. I was texting or on social media, and I noticed it put me in a really negative place. Now I have a little ritual, which I'll share with you, which is before I hop on any video call, I think to myself, what's something good? What's something authentically good that I can share to kick us off with something positive? This does two things. One is it makes me use more positive words. I say, oh, what beautiful weather. What a great day. I've been so looking forward to this meeting. And second, it gives me an authentic reason to smile. So in those first few seconds, I'm able to authentically smile with the good thing that I came up with. One of my favorite warmth cues is a nod. We can use this to increase our warmth. If you're saying something that you really believe in, you can actually nod along with yourself. If someone else says something that you hear that you really love or want to emphasize, you can nod with them. And then my favorite way to use nodding is a slow triple nod. So this is a It's kind of like a nonverbal ... Research has actually found that when you slow triple nod, the other person speaks 67% more. So if you want someone to really dig deep and talk more and collaborate and trust you, you should try the slow Just be careful. Don't do it too fast. A fast triple nod shows impatience. Here's the difference. Slow and engaged. Here's fast. That means speed it up. The emotion behind the nod is I hear you, I see you, I validate you. It doesn't have to mean agreement. It just shows that you're present with them in the room or on video, and it makes someone feel heard. One of our students, Adiri, was a great nodder. You'll actually see that he nods along with himself, and that's a nonverbal way of emphasizing what he believes and showing how much he believes in what he's saying.
I know how to impact people in a positive way, and I think I would say I have a solid skill in terms of empowering people.
But he also nodded with me. So as I said something interesting, he nodded to show me, yes, I like this, I'm interested. The eyebrow raise is a universal signal of openness. So if you were across the bar and you raised your eyebrows at someone, they would know that you're trying to invite connection. The same thing happens in meetings and presentations. When you raise your eyebrows up, it's your body's way of getting your eyebrows out of the way so you can see more. It's a way of demonstrating, I want to see more of you. And we love when people want to see us clearly. You can use the eyebrow raise when someone else is speaking to show, I hear you, tell me more. and that makes you super warm. But you can also use the eyebrow raise when you're speaking to underline or emphasize your words. Some research has suggested that when you raise your eyebrows, it cues the other person to look at your face. So I use it as a nonverbal bolding or emphasis. When I am saying something really important, I might raise my eyebrows up to say, listen to this. Let me show you the difference with an eyebrow raise and without. This is really important. This is really important. Another warmth cue is the head tilt. When we tilt our head to the side and expose our ear up, it shows we are active listening. And we do this across cultures. In fact, we love it when dogs do it because it makes them look really engaged with us. When you want to show warmth or engagement, you can literally tilt your head. You can also add a head tilt to a profile picture to immediately warm you up. Definitely use the head tilt when you're sharing bad news. Watch the difference. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to let you go. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to let you go. That head tilt, they've actually proven, makes bad news more palatable. It shows you're listening. One warmth cue that we have to talk about is touching with trust. Now, touch, especially in professional settings, can be loaded with power in a good way and bad. Here's some rules of thumb that I want you to keep in mind. When we handshake or hand-to-hand touch, that's the safest form of touch. It's why I love starting on a handshake. It immediately produces oxytocin, and oxytocin is the chemical of trust. Now, the further up the arm you go, the more intimate the touch becomes. So a back of the hand to a forearm touch, to top of the arm, this is more intimate. And when we get to the back or anywhere on the torso or face, that's a no-go for touch. In a workplace, I never like to be first toucher. So if it's not a workplace where you might touch someone on the back or give them a high five, I might not be the first to touch just because you don't want to cross that boundary before people are ready. But if it's a place where your manager is high-fiving or someone's giving you a nice pat on the shoulder and you feel comfortable with that, then you can try to reciprocate it. Are people more casual with touch, or would they prefer actually what I call a hover touch? A hover touch is a great way to signal warmth without actually having to touch. That's when you reach out to touch someone, but don't actually touch them. So you say, oh, it's so great that you did this. And you hover where you would touch, but still adding about an inch of space. Here's some safe ways to touch. We like to have celebratory touch. So if someone did a great thing and you can say, oh, high five, or great fist bump, or man, that was awesome. Or you give them a celebratory handshake. One study from UC Berkeley looked at NBA teams in the finals, and they counted the number of touches on each team. That was high five, back slaps, butt slaps, shoulder bumps. And they found that the Mavericks had the highest rate of touches, and that year, they won the playoffs. There's something to that team, the Mavericks, that they felt so connected that they literally wanted to join hands or shoulder bump or side bump or high five. Every time they had that moment of touch, it actually created a physical connection as well as a mental or emotional connection. The UC Berkeley researchers found that touch builds trust. It spreads goodwill, boosts teamwork, and even communicates emotions with just a tap on the arm. We talked about warmth, now let's talk about competence. This is another interview with Jeff Bezos, this time with Business Insider. I want you to see what competence cues he's sending.
One of the reasons we have been able to extend into new business areas and first new product categories going way back, we just sold books and then we started selling music and DVDs and electronics and toys and so on. And then we've extended into electronic reading with Kindle. The reason customers have been receptive, in large part, to our new initiatives is because we have worked hard to earn trust with them.
Didn't Jeff Bezos look like a completely different person in this clip? Now I know he lost his hair, but his cues actually transform him. I feel like he looks like two different people. In this way, his high warmth made him look friendly and likable, but in this interview, his high competence makes him look serious and powerful and effective. So in this clip, you see that he uses gestures, but his face doesn't show as much smiling. He's using more important words. He's talking more I statements and less Amazon.com statements. He's making a lot of eye contact with the interviewer as well as the audience. He also has a still, poised posture. He's not moving a lot, and that makes him look very calm and confident. And at this point in his career, he can be more competent. He already is powerful and capable, so he's able to dial up those competence cues. I also think context is important. In the 60 Minutes interview, it was to a broad audience. It was to anyone who could come to Amazon.com and give credit card details. In the Business Insider interview, it was geared toward a professional audience, more entrepreneurs, more C-suite, more big business leaders. And so he dialed up competence to match his audience, to meet his audience where he was at. The same thing goes for you. I want you to dial up or change your cues based on context. If you're in an interview or a pitch or negotiation, dial up competence cues. If you're in a collaborative session with your teammates or you're at a happy hour or social setting, dial up the warmth. Notice that Bezos uses very purposeful gestures. His gestures are emphasizing or adding value to his words. We love leaders who show purposeful gestures, both explanatory gestures, but also, of course, the steeple. The steeple is a really confident pose for the hand. It's a palm flash. My fingers and my hands are at rest. I have no tension, as well as you can see that I'm not hiding anything. It also grounds you. You could try it with me at home if you like. When you do the steeple, it makes you feel more wise. Here are a couple of my favorite gestures. Bezos uses these as well as some of the most popular TED speakers. We love anytime you say a number, tell me, is it 1 thing, 2 things, 3 things, 4 things, 5 things? 5 things is kind of the max. Anytime you share a number under 5, show it. When you show a number, it keeps people on track. It also helps people not interrupt you. If you say, I have 3 things I want to discuss today, first, second, and third, that means people are less likely to interrupt you because they know that you have to get through all 3 points. Another gesture I love is the me and you. This is really good if you're on camera or if it's great if you're presenting. So whenever you're talking about your ideas, my ideas, you can gesture to yourself. And then when I want to help you and talk about your cues and your ideas, I can gesture to you. This is a really clear way to identify who are we talking about? Just my opinion? Or is this really for you? It's a way of outlining your concepts for your audience. Shruti, one of our students, did a great job with gestures during our conversation, showing how gestures can make you so much more dynamic. She's very smart. She's a researcher. She's a scientist, but she also has her own passions about her career.
I did biochemistry research and I was very passionate about it. There was a connection.
And you can see as she uses more hand gestures, she adds competence. And then when she talks about herself, she gestures towards her heart, towards herself. And that easily helps us distinguish when she's talking about her competence versus her warmth. The next competence cue you should know is showing big and small. This hand gesture makes your ideas easier to understand. So if I say I have a really big idea, your brain has to guess how big. This tennis ball big, beach ball big, canoe big. And when you add gestures, you reduce your listeners' cognitive load. In other words, you make it easier for them to listen to you. The whole point here is to not make your listener guess. The same thing goes for small things, especially if you're talking about conflicts, mistakes, or problems. If you're talking to a client and you have a problem, it's a small problem, we're gonna be able to get rid of it really fast. It's so small you can barely see it. That lessens the cognitive load and also makes them feel like, whew, that does look pretty small, it should be okay. Oh yes, please, please don't finger point. For whatever reason, people do not like to be pointed at. And also, we don't like seeing someone point. It looks accusatory and almost overly direct. If you want to gesture towards something, I would much prefer an open palm. So pointing towards your slides, pointing towards someone in the room, or you can also use, one of my favorites, the thumb pinch. Take a look at these slides. Take a look at this person. Take a look at this document. It's also a subtle thumbs up gesture. One important competence cue is not just how you say it, your body language and gestures, but what you say. Jeff Bezos uses power speech. There are no ums, maybes, you knows, no I thinks, no could be's. He tells it like it is. He uses what I call constructive language. Every word he says builds on his point, builds on his idea. It's constructive. Make sure the language that you're using is building understanding or comprehension or the idea that you're trying to share. What we have to understand about Bezos and competence is that competence cues come from true competence. He knows his business inside and out. That comes across as competent because he's not overthinking, he's not second guessing. Bezos isn't faking competence. He actually knows his stuff. He goes into details as well as big ideas from his thought leadership. The same thing goes for you. I never want you to fake competence. I want you to know your stuff so well that it's easy to use power speech. It's easy to use gestures. It's easy to add confidence to your words because you know what you're saying matters. Couple of highly competent phrases you can use. I believe. Next steps. Let's do, this is what I want to try next. External competence and internal competence, they have to go together. If you know your stuff, that's going to come across in all of your cues and all of your gestures. So if you want true competence, make sure you know your stuff. You now have this new portfolio of cues for charisma. If you want to dial up warmth, add in those warmth cues, the head nods, the head tilt, the eyebrow raises, a little bit of comfortable touch of trust. If you want to dial up competence, use constructive language, use a steeple, use explanatory gestures. In this way, you can make your own recipe of charisma.